Good afternoon, it's Neil from the group. It's Monday, 6th of February. Just been to Stricken. I'm now up at Aikey Brae. It's an unusually mild day. It's about 8-9 degrees. It's incredibly sunny, blue skies. Believe it or not, coming over the short walk from the car park, I've been seeing clouds of midges, or mosquitoes for non-Scotch speaking. So yeah, it's been mild and wet enough for midges to be out, and I don't have any Skin So Soft from Avon. So there's a slight breeze, which is fine. They're keeping them away, but yeah, not even the middle of February and we've got midges coming out, which can't really complain about. So Aikey Brae, another favourite of the group. It's not quite complete, but it's there or thereabouts. It's sheer size is the thing. The recumbents, the recumbent rather, the flankers and the circle stones are significantly large. Also, it's relatively unspoiled, although Great Crowns of Stone, which is the reference that I usually make to, which is, you can easily Google it and find it on Historic Scotland site for free. It's a great source of information. It suggests that there has been a couple of adjustments. So there's a fallen flanker here. It suggests that this flanker has maybe fallen at some point and has been re-erected, and that might explain its slight misalignment with the rest of the circle. But in essence, it's pretty much been, it's not like Stricken where it's been moved and reconstructed a number of times. There's also a significant number of curb stones. There's apparently, according to the documentation, 44 curb stones which would have been held the cairn together originally. So let's have a wee look around. It's a little bit uneven where I am just now. So we'll start with stone number 1, the flanker. So yeah, fallen. It may have been fallen for quite a while. It looks fairly well embedded, but a substantial flanker. I mean, it does look like there's been a fracture of some kind, but to fracture something like that would be some force. So perhaps just unplugged. Hard to tell. But a significant stone for sure. Very wide, relatively thin as we can see. And then we come to the recumbent itself. Unusually shaped with this kind of taper, elevated taper at the end. Lots of theories on what it's supposed to look like and what it's resembling, but I think in essence it's probably been, well, in my view, damaged at some point. This section here has probably been damaged quite a bit. The stones on sleepers, which is another kind of indicator, a bit like Stricken, where it would suggest that the stones may have been moved slightly, maybe, or it's certainly not embedded. You can see right underneath the stone there, so this may have been slightly adjusted, and in that adjustment, or in that movement, it's may have been broken off at the end here, maybe, or maybe it's that shape. It'd be unusual if it was. Most recumbents are fairly well dressed, one end to the other, relatively square, but it is a massive stone. I mean, it is. I'll try and get a better angle with the sun. It is a significant stone, and again, well dressed. If you take how old they are, good right angles. On the top there, some pattern and water damage coming down this side. And then we're on to stone 3, or flanker 2. Again, quite reasonably tall, so I'm 5'4", looking up at this Nice thick stone, thin on the alignment. And again, this is the one that's maybe been a little bit out of line, maybe re-erected. And then going around the circle, we've got the evidence of the curbstones that would be holding in the cairn. And again, this is a bit like, it puts me in mind a little bit of Tire Bagger. Tire Bagger's quite sunken in the middle here, but you know, if there was a cairn here, then that's probably the explanation rather than anything else. So quite a few curbstones and small stones round the edge. A fairly significant stone here has fallen, so we can only determine that that was maybe a circle stone that's been knocked or unplugged. I can only guess they're knocked. If we all go by the kind of group's assumption that these circles are 4,000 or 5,000 years old, then for it to have fallen by itself would have been, I don't think it would have fallen. I think it's probably been a little bit of a push or knock down by some farm equipment or forestry equipment, I would suggest. Again, we've got a medium-sized stone here. Again, it maybe looks like it's been split, hard to tell. Again, well dressed before it was broken, clearly. And then walking around the circle, there's evidence of fairly significant stones embedded in the ground here. Again, they could have been part of this larger circle stone that's been broken up. Some circles I've been to, there has been evidence of drill holes still left in the cracks, but maybe not quite obvious ones here, if this one was broken up indeed. Some more curbstones come around the side, holding in the cairn. Certainly these ones anyway, thinner, well placed in a kind of line around the circle. Another stone here. Interesting evidence here. It could easily be just weathering, but this is a kind of interesting channel that's been clearly broken off. I've got my jacket, a fairly chunky stone. I guess would only be in a circle stone, would have been maybe plugged up here at this point. Looking towards the recumbent and then following the stone round. So we've got standing stones here that are pretty significant, again well dressed. It's triangular, but I mean that could be again a bit of a misnomer. There's certainly stones we've seen in the past that have been clearly been square and had whole sections broken off them. So this stone could have easily have been, you know, this corner here could have been intact. Again, it's getting slightly larger, again very square. Some weathering down the side. And the last circle stone, there's a little, you can see there's been a little kind of circle wall. Maybe the remnants of the curbstones and the overspill of the cairn, maybe at one point. And again, very little evidence of any kind of cairns apart from Lone Head of Davit that still exist, purely because the stones were just ideal size for building walls with, so they would have been robbed a while ago. And the last stone, just for completeness again, this is a significant stone, very nice, very well dressed, relatively square, although it's tapered at the top a little bit. And that's us back round to the recumbent. There's another sort of section of a block here. There's clearly, that's probably where the bottom of it is. The bottom of this, maybe not so clear, but it looks to me like there's been a fracture there. This section has been moved across. This is a significant recumbent. I mean, it's if it wasn't for that section that's broken underneath, or this bit here, you're not far from an old Keeg kind of size of stone. Certainly feels that kind of way being beside it. I'm just kind of like, this is kind of like shoulder head height here. It is, if I disgrace myself and get on top of the other stone, it is relatively wide. Maybe not quite as wide as old Keeg, maybe not far from it though. So certainly is just about as wide, certainly as tall. Maybe not quite as long, but again, if you take it that the end section's broken, then it might have originally been the same kind of size, or not far from it, is maybe what I'm saying. It's maybe not far from it. So there we go. Out for a lovely day, look around Aikey Brae. Got a good signal, so I thought I would just do a live stream from it. There we go. Thanks very much.